I did practice, and I know that we didn't talk about this, but you and me didn't talk about this, but I talked about this to myself and a little bit to Alora. So I wanted to do a special introduction today. So I wanted to do this. I wanted it to go like this. From the forest city of Southern Ontario, London, Ontario's 3-time Canadian powerlifter, North American deadlift record holder, sober athlete, and fairness for women in sports advocate, April Hutchenson. Can I get my picture taken with you? Can I get my picture taken with you? Can I get an autograph?
Welcome.
I feel like I was in my MMA fight there.
Right? Yeah, right? Anyways, girl, we're so happy to have you. And it's been a while in the making. We've been talking for a long time, and we've been trying to make this happen. We met, I don't know, like, has it been a year, maybe?
Yeah,
Give or take,
probably. A year. I don't recall how we met though. Online. Yeah.
Online. We and it just I don't remember what it first was. I think it might have been one of your first kind of public posts about what was going on. And because we're from the same area, it got sent to me pretty quick. I found it pretty quick. And then that was just a commonality right there. Boom. Oh, she's from London. Sweet. Okay. And then from then on, it was just sharing information and commenting on this, that, and the other. And as both my wife and I are, former competitive female athletes, it's been something that's been near and dear to my heart for a long time, since the early 2000s. I don't even know if you know this, but I used to play in the senior Ontario Women's Hockey League. So whatever, it's a competitive league. It's not, it's not Olympians, but there's former Olympians. Like, those are all kind of senior women, 18 and over, that either, but most are like, say, in their mid to late 20s, early 30s at the time, that had played high level university hockey or high level competitive hockey. And this is kind of where we landed. We're all working full time. A lot of them have kids. It's just where we landed and where we could play. Okay. So I'm in my, mid 20s, and fuck me if there's not a fucking guy on this other team, local. Some of my friends will have to help me out here, but it would have been like Elsa Craig areas where he is from. So it was up somewhere up in there. It might have been the Park Hill team. Anyway, and his name changed to Monica, which we of course adapted very quickly to Manica, and and I of course was fucking left winger, and that was my man. That was my fucking point man, and I had to fucking block his shots. And half the time, I mean, here's the funny thing. This guy couldn't skate very well, but it didn't matter. He's your fucking size, okay? Which is a giant to me. And then put him on skates. Okay, so it's kind of irrelevant if you can't skate very well and you're standing at the point and you can unload a shot. You're still a man biologically, and you're still gonna fucking take my head off if it hits me and or the goalie. It was brutal. It was brutal. Okay. So there was a lot of times where I would just be like, and move aside, because I like in protest. Do you know what I mean? Now, had this been today, I guarantee you that I wouldn't have played. I guarantee you that I would have put up a huge, way more of a fight. Back in that time, again, this is like 3, 4, 5, 6. It was a few years that this went on for. In fact, I guarantee he's still playing today in women's leagues in and around London. I guarantee it. This guy was changing in the change rooms. And again, these are 18-year-old girls, 18 to whatever. So come on, 18's fucking impressionable. And you know what people would say when we'd kind of be like, what the fuck's going on? People would say he owns a pharmacy, and he would sponsor the team and he paid for everybody basically.
That's not
He
okay.
put big,
That's not a
he
reason.
he just put big money into it to shut everybody up and to keep everybody from fucking speaking out about it. And because it was so unheard of, April, I don't know. I guess we just didn't really put up too much of a fight about it. We just all kind of like showed our disrespect for it by like not really engaging a lot. You know what I mean? And we'd call him Manica. Like he'd skate by and I'd be like, "Nice shot, Manica."
Oh my
Like
God.
I'd just fucking rip on him because I just thought it was so fucking absurd. I played co-ed hockey at times. And you know, the guys all have to treat you very differently. And if there's a situation, I don't know if you've ever played hockey, but it moves fucking fast, okay? And if someone fucking turns at the wrong time and you fucking get nailed, like it's happened to me by, again, a guy your size, like over 6 feet on his skates and just stars, like just out like a light. I mean, you sign up for it, you know what you're doing, but the men treat you different. They're not out to fucking take your head off. They know they're playing with girls, right? It's a different situation.
Yeah, it's no different. Like when I'm boxing, I was talking about this another podcast where when I'm sparring, I have no problems like training or sparring against a man for practice. But
Right.
again, those men are going at 20 or 30%. They're
Right.
not going at
No, you're absolutely right. Jenny and I are doing boxing right now. And our boxing coach, he's
He's like a 6-foot black man, and he just like
he doesn't even have his
he
hands
doesn't even
up.
try. And we're like gassed and giving it everything.
We're trying so hard, and you're right. He doesn't even have his hands up. He's just like bloop bloop. He does these stupid fucking noises that make me drive me nuts because we can't get him. And but he's obviously treating us very differently than he treats the guy ahead of us. Now, the guy ahead of us that we come afterwards, he's a smaller man. Same thing. He's going less hard on that guy. Obviously, he's still sparring with him, but he's still going less hard because this is a smaller guy than he is. Like, we have weight classes. I mean, this is just so asinine to me that this even has to be a discussion. But getting into weight classes, let's just do I'm sure that most people know your story by now, but quick backstory about what brought you out into the limelight of the situation.
Well, I guess it happened so I started training in 2019, right before COVID hit. I'm sure y'all know I started powerlifting to help me. I came out of rehab for alcohol addiction, started powerlifting, and it was at a time where it was actually a couple months before COVID happened. So I literally just trained every day in my friend's garage to help me with my mental health. And you know what? There was nothing else going on during COVID. So I literally just spent that time to train. And I had befriended a person online on Facebook named Anne. So Anne and I chatted for about 6 months just about powerlifting, common interests and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until Laura Hubbard went to the Olympics and I was talking about it with Anne and I said, that's completely unfair. Like, why are they letting a man...
To those people that don't know, Laura Hubbard actually was allowed to participate in the last fucking Olympics as a female in the weightlifting competition in the Olympics.
Yes.
Okay, now go ahead.
Yeah, so... And, I mean, I won't go on about the Olympics and the IOC and all their policies, but basically Anne was saying, oh, that's great. And I said, well, no, it's a man. Like, that's completely unfair. Right. And Anne said, well, you know I'm a man, don't you? And I said, well, no. How would I know that? Like, you know, I'm not going to assume. And actually, all the pictures that I had seen of Anne online, he actually looked, you know, he had longer hair. He looked quite feminine. Again, that's probably because he was taking hormones, right? But then... I said to Anne, like, how far do you plan on going with powerlifting? Like, do you plan to go to nationals and worlds? And he's like, yeah, I want to go as far as I can. And I said, Anne, if you do that, I will not be quiet. I will speak up. And I think my last words to Anne was, I will raise hell. And then he blocked and deleted me.
Wow.
And I haven't spoke to him ever since. So I actually sat with that for a little while. Even I told my boyfriend about it. I said, there's a man competing like against women and no one knows this. And he was taking gold medals away from women. So I sat with it for a while. I didn't feel good about it. I literally just couldn't sleep knowing. I felt like I had like a dirty little secret kind of thing, right? So
it is a fucking dirty secret.
It's
disgusting.
Yeah. And so I, you know, because I was concerned obviously about like, what's this guy all about? Are the women safe? It's
Right.
completely unfair, right?
Yeah.
So I actually
Yeah.
ended up writing to my federation, and they didn't even respond. They didn't even acknowledge my email.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I wrote every board member. So I made sure everyone was held accountable. So I contacted the president. I contacted the Ontario president. About 6
Really?
people the email went to, and not one person replied and said that they received it, that they acknowledged it. So at that time,
And this is a
yeah.
female federation, correct? Or is it
I
a
think there's
federation?
male and female.
and
So
female.
the Canadian Powerlifting Union is made of men and women with weight classes,
Right.
you know. So, but obviously I compete with the women, right?
When
So
you wrote this letter, what was the stated policy on this? Was there a policy on this?
there wasn't even a policy at that time. They actually created a transgender inclusion policy.
During
Yeah, during that time because they knew I was talking about it. So they kind of slipped one in there. And
wow.
it was like, here's our trans inclusion policy. And it was so ridiculous to the point where they said, and we suggest that you use pronouns. I'm like, so now you're telling us to use pronouns? It was just,
Wow.
yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah, so no one got back to me, and a couple other lifters who had competed against Anne wrote letters. They also got ignored. So I felt so alone. Like I went through a deep depression because I was just sitting there. No one was helping me. And then I got connected with Riley Gaines and Marshy Smith from Icons. She's an NCAA swimmer, and Linda Blade.
Okay.
So they basically came and helped me, and we got a lawyer involved to write letters to the federation to state, this is discrimination
Yeah.
against women.
Absolutely. Yep.
Again, crickets. And they would come back and go, April's going to get disciplined. April's going to lose her Team Canada spot if she keeps speaking up about this.
Wow.
It goes against our policy that you can't basically contest another lifter in whatever category they want to be in. So, and I was like, okay, so basically I just kept speaking out. I was like, you can't silence me. You can't tell me I can't speak out about this. And I just spoke out even more. And then they're like, here you go. You're getting a 2-year suspension.
Which then got
Reduced
to 1 year.
Yeah, but they didn't reduce that. The Canadian Powerlifting didn't reduce that. It was
Okay.
a third party. So after they suspended me,
Yep.
they then changed their policy to for complaints that they would have to go through a third party. So basically putting everything on a third party so that way they can't get sued. It goes
No
on
ownership.
No ownership.
Right.
They
No
didn't
shit.
take ownership. They're the
Right.
worst. They don't
Right.
take any accountability. So they
Wow.
reduced it to a year, which I predicted because it's very middle of the road, safe decision. What pleases one side, pleases the other side.
Well, it doesn't please my side.
No, it doesn't
What
please
the
me.
fuck does?
so
what
Well,
the
it's
fuck
sitting on the
does-
fence. It's
Yes.
also why you never got a letter or response back.
No.
They
No.
didn't want to. They didn't want to engage in any of that.
How is suspending the female? That it is. It's just anyway. It's clear
It was-
discrimination.
Well, that was
Yeah.
just
Disgusting.
to shut you up.
Well, yeah, to shut me up, and I knew that. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, I was dealing with board members that were very biased. Like one board member literally has a kid in the queer community. I don't know if trans or not, but she was really, really pushing to have me suspended.
What?
Another
That's very biased. then. That's her own agenda.
exactly, and then the head of ethics, Vicky, she literally has posted on openly on Instagram how she supports trans lifters. I'm like, you're the head of ethics.
You're kidding me.
You should not be posting anything about, if you're on a board, you do not post. Like, if I was on a board, for something, I wouldn't be posting all my stuff that I am now, obviously, right? So, I mean,
Wow.
it's just crazy. And that's who I was going up against. And, and to show they're biased, they let Anne compete the whole year. And they also let him make death threats towards me. He made fun of women for being weak.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Countless videos.
I've seen. Yeah.
You guys know, right?
Oh,
You've
yeah,
seen
I've
it.
seen
seen
lots
it.
of it.
And,
Yeah.
and no consequences.
what
So,
disgrace.
okay,
Yeah.
April, I have to ask you this because this has been now again, I know I'm the kettle calling the pot black because I just explained to you that I played against a trans woman in a league for several years and continued playing. Did not boycott, okay? But again, I have to just state that I feel like it was a different time, different situation. I'm asking why right now, and I know that this is hard, but I'm asking why right now women around the world, let's face it, particularly in North America, like where people are mentally ill. Why aren't women just saying, we're not showing up? We're not going to show up at the fucking competition. Like some of the mountain biking girls have been like, we're out. And they're just, I've seen it happen, but I feel like it should be this fucking domino effect where it's just like, you know what? If you don't want women in sports, then we're not going to fucking participate in your fucking charade and then see what happens when there's no one to compete. Like why?
So I really need to write these down because as I talk about it more and I work with people and I see what's happening, I think I add another thing to the list. So I talked the other day on the podcast and I said, so women, for example, there's people that are just self-serving, okay? They don't care. If it doesn't affect them, they won't speak up. So I know, say, some female lifters that are like, well, I'm not going to back out. I worked so hard. I put so much money into my sport. Why should I back down? And it's true. Like we know how hard like powerlifting can be. It's strenuous. It's a lot of work, and they don't want to throw that away. I did it. I showed up to nationals. I didn't want to compete against Anne. I backed out. Right. But no one else did.
But that takes integrity.
Interesting. But so you did that at nationals, but nobody else did it. No one did it with you. You're fucking kidding me.
I didn't show up. I was supposed to show up. The judges texted me that morning and said, "April, where are you?" And I said, "I refuse to compete as long as there's a biological male competing against the women." I did not show up, and then I posted this like a kind of like a protest. All the protesters walked in after, and 20 people. Linda Blade walked
into the event.
I wasn't there.
Why not though? I'm just curious. Why wouldn't you have been there?
Well, they didn't want me there because I was still a member at that time, right?
Who's they?
The protesters.
Okay.
Like Linda Blade was there with ICFS, like a bunch of ladies, and so they walked in, and we basically were wearing stickers that XY doesn't equal XX. And they tried to kick them out. The manager came, the CPU president said, you have to leave. And we're like, well, no, we're here cheering women on. So, but back to the question is, like I said, yeah, she nailed it. Like a lot of people just don't have integrity. I have a very strong personality. I have a strong voice, and my integrity means everything to me because, people know that obviously if you don't have integrity, if you lie to yourself every day, I know I would relapse on alcohol. I just know that. So it's like me holding, again, a dirty secret or like lying to my spouse every day or cheating on him. Like that's, oh my God, I would probably drink in like 2 days. Yeah, that's going to kill me. It's going to kill me. So a lot of people just don't care. Self-centered. They don't care. They just want to get that medal. They want to be number one.
How can they?
Well, they don't want to feel like they're throwing away their training.
I understand, but isn't it short-sighted? Because they all want to just get that gold medal until the man steps into their weight class. Yeah. And then you're not going to get the fucking gold medal. It's like, pay me now, pay me later. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
But the thing is that a lot of women, no, this is the main thing, right? This is why women are, I said this to Tammy Peterson. Guess who our number one enemy is? It's actually women themselves.
Right, 100%.
Because it's a war on women. 100%. But then we have the women making it worse. Defending and guess what? They are defending because we are nurturing.
Yeah.
We are more tolerant creatures. We are as women. We are also caregivers. So we have a mentally ill man coming in and the women are like, no, don't hurt his feelings. Just please, let's give him what he wants. It's okay if they take our medals. Like, just don't upset him. We don't want to hurt feelings. And then you have people that have jobs that are like, I don't want to lose my job for speaking up. Well, I'll tell you, I haven't lost my job and I've been speaking up for a year. I've actually had trans activists go after my job. And even my work was like, nope, you're not doing anything wrong. You were literally, I said, like, it's like me. I could say, like, I believe in 2 genders, which I do. I believe in male and female. And I said,
you're allowed to have an opinion.
I said, that's my opinion.
It's not an opinion. Yeah, it's a fucking biological fact.
It's a fact, but it's also your voice. Right.
But me talking to my HR department, I just said to them, like, look, do I believe that a man can become a woman? No, I don't. I said, I believe in 2 genders. I go, that's my belief. And I didn't say it was fact because I'm talking to my HR department, right? And they said, no, you're allowed to have that. I said, because I said to them, like, what if I'm Christian and that goes against my beliefs? Like, I was bringing up all these little things, right?
But you shouldn't have said Christian. You should have said Muslim.
Yeah.
If you
that's true,
if you had have said Muslim, they would be like,
no, exactly.
Because they hate Christians right now. Because we are like, Christ has risen. It's Easter weekend. Thank you, blessed Lord. But if you say anything about Christ, you're in the same boat, right? But if you said, "Oh, I'm Muslim," they would just be like, "Oh, well," they for sure they'd walk away from that one.
It's interesting though that you say that it's the women that are preventing this from, right? Like that are counter protesting.
Yeah.
I feel like these are the women that are raising children, that are walking on eggshells with them, that are afraid to even parent, right? To discipline. Because
100%.
It's fine. I just said, it's funny you said that. I literally just said that last night. We were talking about crying kids, right? In a grocery store. And you have these parents that just let it happen. They don't control their kids. They don't discipline them. And I said to my friend, those are the same parents that are going to create snowflakes and are also going to be super woke. And they're not going to want to, hurt a man's feelings. Because I'll tell you, I've talked to Rebel News about this, and I said, my biggest problem with the powerlifters in my federation or in general are like between the 40 and the 60-year-old women that are like a little overweight, that never belonged. They're fluffy. They've never belonged to a group. They should live in the land of misfits. Remember Rudolph? That's
Misfit
who they
toys,
are.
the land of misfit toys.
Yeah.
Yo, we literally had just had this discussion, and I literally said they're always fat.
Yes.
They have their fucking streak of whatever color in their hair.
Exactly.
Pink or purple.
They can't have they don't have a man because no fucking man wants them. So
They're scorned.
then they become queer because they have other fat women that can't get a guy, and then they just think that means they're gay now because they can't fucking get a guy to fuck them.
It's the new emo. It's the new punk. It's the new whatever. Except the voice now it's also now being amplified with virtue signaling.
Yes, beautiful.
It's being fueled by virtue signaling, and it's destroying people's ability to speak truth, to have an opinion.
But it's
to have a voice.
It is so fucking interesting though with the women. Like I don't understand how we talk about the feminist movement a lot, and how I would have called myself up until a few years ago a diehard feminist, and now I'm disgusted by the term. I don't want to be labeled as a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I now see what they did to women. The whole point of it was to devalue women, to take them out of their rightful place, which is to be nurturers, to be mothers. If you don't want to be a mother, cool. No one cares. But don't fucking tell every woman that that's not their role anymore. That their role is to go to work and have a career. What kind of a fucking life are we living here where we just think that life is about getting up and going to work every day and having this university education? And if you don't have it, then you're a fucking loser. And if you find a man and get married and want to have children, you're a fucking loser.
That's the program into our subconscious around, that's actually the slave mentality of I need to work in order to, that's how I have purpose. And that's how, my worthiness is connected to my job.
Like I have to say something, because Riley, because I listen to everything that she does. I think she's wonderful, and I'm listening to her on Joe Rogan, and I thought, 23 years old, and I grew up as a liberal. Okay, so at 23, I'm a fucking wild woman. Okay, traveling, working, having like random sex, thinking that that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay,
that's empowerment.
That's empowerment. That's feminism. That's okay. And I'm listening to Riley Gaines speak, and she's married, and she's mature, and she's articulate, and she speaks wonderful truths of God, facts of biology, but just so well spoken. And I think, is this what conservatives raise? Is this what conservative people produce?
Conservative
is someone
values.
That's 23 that knows who they are I'm 42 years old, and I'm just starting to unravel. Wow, what if I was raised by conservative people? And I was given these lessons and taught these values to come out at 23 with such discipline and respect for yourself and assurance, confidence. I just, the way that she speaks, I feel like, how can anyone on the other side listen to these screamers, these girls that go into these, and all they do is, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like, look at that. That's conservative. Riley Gaines is the poster fucking child for conservative upbringing. And then these woke fucking liberals with their colored hair screaming at the podium. It's just like, it was shocking to me to see that, oh my God, that's what these people that let their kids scream in the grocery store and open up the cereal box and give them whatever they want, that is the progression. Is they turn out to be these screaming kids who then become these terrible fucking mothers, who then become these 40 to 60-year-old fat fucking cows that advocate for men to whip their fucking dicks out in change rooms in front of little girls and be able to compete with them in the swimming pool.
So you know how that begins? Lack of boundaries.
Yeah. You know what? Perfect. Because I said that the other day. People, so I'll just go back to the whole Riley thing. It's funny because, like, I grew up with a police officer father. My mom was stay at home, and then she was a secretary. But I mean, I was drugging and drinking my whole life, right? So I didn't have any sense of right, and I was like, everything was wrong that I was doing. I was wild like you, right? I was like, and when I got sober in 2019, I mean, I knew all along what was right, what was wrong. Right. And I knew what I was doing was wrong. But when I got sober in 2019, that's when I literally started, and also, I don't get my education from Reddit, and I don't get my education from TikTok. And I think that's where everything exploded too, was through COVID, and everyone was on TikTok, and everyone's like, I don't want to deal with my uncomfortable feelings. I'm just going to be a cat, or I'm just going to change genders. And, I mean, but I do have good morals. I mean, I believe in a higher power, but I'm not saying I believe in God per se, but I do know what's right from wrong. And I am a very compassionate person, and I don't have kids, So I don't have that mother nurturing feeling, but I've always been, like, I guess, a good-hearted. I know what's
Aren't
right.
you an aunt? And aren't you
I'm
a
an
pretty
aunt.
good
I
aunt?
have 2 little nieces. Yeah.
I see you nurturing your nieces.
Exactly. But I'm saying, like, I didn't have that whole, like, what I'm saying about these women that are, like, the demise of sports, or, like, they're like, oh, we're just loving and nurturing. We just have to take care of everyone, right? Our man's feelings. And
that's not how sports works.
No. But I was going to say, people can love people and accept them, but there has to be boundaries. And that's where we have to teach these, these woke women that you can be a loving person. Same with me, with my relationship, say with my boyfriend. You can love people. You can love them from afar. You can accept whatever, but there's boundaries in everything, right?
Yeah. And there's still truth, and there's still lies. And we have to be able to recognize that's true. That you as a man, we've discussed at length intersex people, because there's a period of time where I may have been insensitive to some trans people who legitimately are born with intersex, with issues, and they may or may not identify as what they were, as how they were born. But that's 1 in 20,000. That's fucking rare. You don't have, we discussed last week about the women, the Seneca College game. There was 3 trans on one team and 4 on the other. There's no fucking way that's 1 in 20,000 intersex. Like, there's just no fucking way that's possible.
The numbers don't make any sense now.
No. And that's what, I do get that question too. What about intersex? And I said, I'm not even entertaining it. It's just such a rarity. I said, maybe if that comes up in conversation, or if that person is intersex and wants to compete, then the board can deal with that issue. But right now,
one by one, case by case.
Case by case. And if we have to do cheek swabs and all that stuff, but we know just by how they act and what's going on. Like, the male in mine he's just a male that wants to dominate. He's a misogynistic man that wants to dominate. He wants to be number one, because he could easily go lift in another federation. He could easily create a separate category if that's all he wanted to do was just partake in sports. Right. And he could be a positive role model for transgenders. And that's what Buck Angel and I always talk about, is like, he could spin this into a positive. Right. And make it a benefit, like a good thing. So
okay, well, let's move in that direction. So let's talk about Jenner. Let's talk about Bruce Jenner, and how I find it fascinating that I think that whole thing is just ridiculous anyway. But he's an advocate for not having trans women in sports, which I find fascinating, because he's a former Olympic athlete. He fucking knows that
it's not fair.
He knows, he understands that. But let's touch on that. Let's entertain it. We were in a chat last week with someone, and we were being met with deaf ears. Okay, but I said in that chat, I solved the world's problems today. I solved the most challenging problem of the world today when this person was saying, woe is them, they don't have anywhere to compete. And I said, no, they do. It's called co-ed. So let's talk about that. There's co-ed hockey teams, there's co-ed baseball teams, there's co-ed fucking everything. CrossFit is a fucking perfect example. There's like team CrossFit where there's 2 guys, 2 girls. I love CrossFit for that. It taught me, because I'll tell you right now, we've talked about it before. That's where my eyes were really open to the fact that, like, no matter how hard I tried, I was never going to lift more than that guy. And he was like, 16, and he just started to lift last week. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking mind boggling. But like, why wouldn't your weightlifting federation just say, you know what, guys, we've got multiple women now that are raising concerns about this. We have a men's category, a women's category. Why not have a co-ed open category where you're kind of like, perfect. What the fuck is the problem here?
Well, and that's what Danielle Smith is doing. So I've been working with her advisor, Nicholas, her LGBT plus advisor, and he's getting a lot of insight. He's actually talking to myself. He's talking to another powerlifter. We're talking to a whole bunch of female athletes because we're kind of helping them, like, and Marshy Smith from Icons, just to get our insight on how, because they came out and proposed a co-ed league, right? Because initially they asked us, like, should we compel the federations to do this, or we're like, no, you have to make them do this. You can't give them those options. You have to say, look at co-ed. So in October, this is when the new legislation is going to come out, and it's in Alberta. So I think it's great. I mean, but at the end of the day, I think, like, I don't think anyone's going to be happy with it. Like, Anne's not going to be happy with that. Like, that's gonna
right, because then Anne has to compete with likely other fucking men.
But we don't protect people's emotions. This is not about protecting people's emotions. This is about the biology and safety for women.
Well,
too.
no, exactly.
We always say this thing here, your triggers aren't my responsibility.
Yeah.
And with all due respect to you, we're outside before we started. I'm smoking a fucking huge joint, and you're like, hey, I'm like that's a trigger, right? And I'm like, yeah, as I smoke a joint. Like, that's your trigger. That's your fucking cross to bear. That's not mine. I fucking smoke 1,000 fucking 1,000 joints a day. That's my deal. But that's right. We have to get to this place where your triggers are your triggers. And that's your fucking thing that you have to deal with.
Your emotions are your own responsibility.
I don't have to tiptoe around it. Now, should I be disrespectful and fucking blow a huge fucking load in your face? No. Should I fucking crack a beer and chug it in front of you? No. I shouldn't do that. And I don't drink anyway. So I wouldn't. But that's where we need to get back to here, is that we need to understand that we as women are nurturers, but we're not here to protect the feelings of these fucking mentally ill men who want to just dominate women, and we're rewarding them for being misogynists and often mentally ill with autogynephilia.
Yeah. Well, no, I said that. I mean, I say that all the time on my podcast, and I always wonder, is it going to get me in trouble? But I actually always say, like, it's not my responsibility to validate people. It is up to them. And you would know that very well. And, like, I mean, I did tons of therapy when I was in rehab, right? I literally get my self-love, which I had no self-love, no self-respect, right? Self-esteem. Well, when I got sober, I started working on it. And guess what? I have self-love. I have self-respect. And that's, what keeps me sober. Because, I look in the mirror and I have to do the things that I need to do to get me through that day. Right. Whether it's, say, April, you're a beautiful person, or, whatever. So, I mean, it's not up to me to use people's pronouns and to validate and to enable their mental illness. That's not my job. They have to get that from themselves. Whether that's do good deeds for others, like me. I love volunteering. That gives me my self-esteem, right? So
well said. Yeah. What's Anne doing? Like, what is Anne doing for others? I'm just curious. Like, what the fuck are you out there doing, homie?
Well, I mean, as far as I know, nothing. He literally sits in his gym. He doesn't work. He just trains all day.
Does he have a wife?
He has a boyfriend, or
like a man,
sure.
Or
it's
a
man.
Woman?
It's a man.
Oh, so he's just
he's a gay male.
So he's a gay man. Mm-hmm. So it's a long way around of saying he's a fag. Oh, okay, cool. I get it.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. And this is a long way around of me saying that we're dykes.
Yeah.
Okay, I could wear a dick and I could cut my hair and I could like tell you that I'm a guy, but it's the long way around of me saying I'm a dyke and I like pussy.
Is dyke just another word for lesbian? I was going to ask you that. Okay. I didn't know if there was like a slang for...
Here's the thing.
I've heard of it before. I just didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think that... look, I like use the word fag very loosely. I don't give a fuck. And I'll tell you why. Because to me, if you want to talk about my triggers, it's queer. I think queer is the biggest gay fucking slur I've ever heard in my life. In the 80s, you did not say queer. You would not say queer. And we said everything was fucking retarded and everyone was a fag. Whether you were a fag or not, you were a fag. And whether you were retarded or not, you were retarded. And you did not say queer. You never said queer. So I actually think that it's a fucking very derogatory term to say queer. And you'll never hear me say it. But... so because people use it so loosely, I say fag and dyke all the time because to me, if that's that out there, then why not?
What does queer mean? Like to me, I feel like when I hear queer, I feel like they're on the spectrum of maybe being gay, or on the spectrum of being. It's on the spectrum. Like, you know what I mean? They're just like on that edge. I don't know if I'm gonna be.
I don't think that's it
I
at
think
all.
it's all
That's
encompassing.
amazing.
That was horrible.
It's
I
all
think it's
encompassing
amazing.
of anything in the LGBT alphabet soup
It's just
community.
become okay. So thank you. Queer, strange, or odd.
The land of misfits. It's the land of misfits.
100%. She had a queer feeling that they were being watched. Oh, that's weird. Okay.
Ugh.
Okay, so relating to sexual or gender. Okay. Number 2, relating to a sexual or gender identity that does not correspond to established ideas of sexuality and gender, especially heterosexual norms. Oh, fuck off.
Wow. That's
This
interesting.
is what they teach in school.
Yes.
Like, this is what they teach in corporate policies, even.
Yep. The corporate world.
Once June comes along, all the governments, they all go out and say, "Hey, do you want to learn what pansexual is?" And like, it's crazy. Like
No,
this, and it's
I
in our
don't.
schools. Like,
I
this
know.
is what they're.
This is a
buffet of options. It's what it is.
Now, listen, I'm not saying that. Okay, so everybody knows that our daughter was homeschooled, and then now, as of the new year, went back to school, Catholic school. I have to say that, and I'm looking for reasons. I'm always looking for reasons to have a fight with the school board about something. I haven't had anything
besides the solar eclipse, which will be on the next episode.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later today. But I haven't had anything with the Catholic school that I. Okay, here's an example. So I guess they were doing like sex ed in class or something, and they talked about marriage maybe, and the religion teacher, who's quite religious, go figure, said that marriage was between a man and a woman. And then someone said, what about gays? And the teacher said, like, okay, well, that's okay, but like in our particular situation, we believe that it's between a man and a woman. And then he said, yeah, we hate gays. And then and then the teacher said, listen, that's not appropriate. We don't say that. We don't hate gays. We didn't, that's not what we're going to say. And just moved on. And I fucking loved it. And my kid came home and was like, this is what happened. And she was laughing. And we were laughing. Like, we thought it was really funny. And I really liked how the teacher handled it. Like, we don't hate gays. We're not making fun of them. This is what we're teaching. This is our belief system. Whereas, like, if that was in the Thames Valley District School Board of, like, the London area, oh my God. First of all, marriage wouldn't have been even discussed between a man and a woman. It would have been like, you can marry a cow and it's completely appropriate to fuck that cow. And then if you want to be a cow, you can be a cow. And then, right, and it would just be so gross. Like,
there's no boundaries.
The books that people say don't exist. It blows my mind when I listen to these parents at board meetings reading these fucking books out loud, to the point where the members of the school board generally dismiss them and have the people removed because they don't want to listen to it, because it's like, okay, you're being homophobic and transphobic. It's like they're talking like I've been so disgusted by some of the things I've read. An adult shouldn't even be reading this kind of, it's like child pornography. And the fact that we're teaching it in our schools in Canada is crazy.
I guess this is part of the problem with lack of boundaries is that we're also encouraging a lot of it's it's a slippery slope of how to say what's right and wrong. There people are losing a moral compass with this.
Well, okay, let's stick with athletics and let's stick with schools, but let's stick with athletics. So I'm hearing a lot of things from friends. Most of my friends are teachers from high school and hockey. So I've got this one friend who's a teacher in London high school. I'm not going to say, but she's been telling me that this has become quite an issue at school with athletics in London. In
For
London,
trans?
for trans. And she's been saying that it's starting to creep in further and further and further.
It's infiltrating kind of everywhere in our society, I find.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
And I was going to say, do you know Jen Kish, the rugby player? Yeah.
Yep.
I got into a huge battle with her because she's very pro, like, it's okay for little boys to compete against little girls in public school. And so I went after her for that. I said, no, this is where it starts is in the public schools. Little boys should be and little girls should be taught in school the biological differences.
Yes.
I know I'm not saying give them a full-on science class, but at least tell them, what the difference is. Because when I grew up, I was very athletic. And,
Same.
I mean, I do have good genes, so I was always the top of my sport, whatever I did. So it was always a big fun thing at the public school to sell little tickets and watch April compete against Sam. He was the fastest boy.
Right.
And they'd be see if she can be it was just a fun thing, but we never competed against each other.
Well, I played boys hockey because how old are you again?
48, turning 48. Yeah.
Oh shit, you're that old? Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Love it. Did you put pee on your face too?
I'll try it. I'll see if Chad's into that.
That's so funny. Okay, so I'm 43, and so I grew up playing boys hockey because we didn't have girls hockey until I was older. So by the time I hit puberty, there was girls hockey and I'd been playing for a couple years. But up until then it was girls and boys, which honestly was fine. I changed in the referee's room. It was fine. But once you hit 11, it's kind of okay, time to fucking. So I mean, and when our daughter was really little, she played Timbits hockey. They're all mixed together. It's fine. But when they hit that 10
puberty,
8, I don't know, maybe 8, where they start noticing boys have penises and girls have vaginas. Anyway, all I'm saying is little kids is one thing, but you're right. Once they're in that grade, probably 4, it's guys, no, absolutely not. And those girls, those fundamental years are really important for the development of girls and sports. And when they get to high school, if they're already tainted by having these issues, bye-bye scholarships. I mean, look, when I was a kid, I knew 2 girls in my whole life that had scholarships for hockey to the States. 2 girls. That's it. Now, I coached a hockey team in London for years. I know fucking 5 or 6 girls from the one team that I coached that had scholarships. Okay? So, that's a real opportunity for women to have scholarships, to go to universities, to go to the States, to go to Europe. How many girls are being stripped of those opportunities right now based on these fucking loser males that just aren't good enough to compete with the boys?
Well, no, and that's in public school, everything's pretty much co-ed up until you get to grade 7. I remember then you start getting little girls volleyball team, little girls basketball teams.
Yep.
And that's when they should be taught they're separate, right?
Yep.
Because what is that, what does that set up for a little girl to learn when she's constantly losing against a boy? How does that set them up for the future? And then they go into high school and then they're already deflated because they're well, I don't want to play sports because I don't want to keep losing. I mean, I didn't have to compete against any. I do remember a girl in my high school. She was really good at hockey and she was the first girl. I remember her in the paper to make the boys team because she really fought to go on the boys team.
I played on the boys team.
Yeah. But I mean, I just think it starts at the grassroots, at the very low levels.
But grade 8's different than grade 9.
Yes.
Grade 9, I would have got murdered. And you know what? Grade 8, the boys protected me.
Yeah.
The boys were very protective of me. So what are we even talking about? Why would they have to protect me if I was the same?
There's a noticeable difference though in that age range.
Yeah.
like once you hit puberty, but even before puberty, I mean, I
Also, I went out with them, Justin Medeiros. I hope you're listening. What's up?
So funny. No, but there is a big difference, yeah. And especially at puberty, right? That's when like testosterone is like rampant and
Yep.
like yeah. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
But I was gonna say go back to the not kind of off topic with the sports thing, but we were talking about kids and talking about all the different like the queer stuff. And I mean, when I grew up, I was 6 years old. I think you've heard of this. I've talked about my sexual abuse, right? When I was 6 years old. So, and I was just a kid playing with boys, having fun, like loving life kind of thing. And then when I was sexually abused by my neighbor, that's when I can remember as a kid running around the neighborhood. I wanted to see everyone's private parts. I was so curious. And I was playing with girls. I was like sexually playing with girls, right? And boys. And I grew up very uncomfortable. Like, and I remember thinking, and I said this too, like I turned myself into a little boy. I had a little boy cut. I remember I cut my Barbie's hair into like a little buzz cut because I thought if I protect myself and be a little boy, then no men will ever touch me again, right?
Wow.
And I had a big brother and I wanted to blend in. And I can still remember them going, look at that girl. She's so hot. I'm like, yeah, she's so hot. Like I used to mimic them and I wanted to blend in. And when I hit 12 years old, that's when I started going through puberty and I started developing. And I remember wearing hoodies. Like I wouldn't even be in a pool without wearing a t-shirt. And I thought, oh my God,
Laura,
men
you know
are going to
about that.
look at me and want to find me tempting and they're going to want to touch me, right? But that's when I started drinking, was to help me with those uncomfortable feelings. And by the time I was 19, I was like a full-fledged alcoholic. But I needed that alcohol to get through all that, right? And it was very awkward, even just to be with boys. Like I couldn't have sex. I didn't have sex until I was sober, until I was 30. That was the first time I ever had sober sex. Like I needed it to even go through those uncomfortable feelings, right? So you take these kids now who are claiming to be trans at 7 years old or whatever age, and guess what? We're not even looking at all the trauma these people have maybe gone through with
Right.
abusive parents, alcoholic parents, or just growing up being sexually abused.
One
what
and
have
two.
you. Yeah.
1 and 2.
So, and then they're like, nope, put them on hormones. Like, take them away from the parents. Let's give them.
Oh, there's
It's
no
so sad.
social history. Like usually like affirmative care is just affirming whatever the child is saying, right? Just going along with, oh, you're in the wrong body. But let's not, but when I was working in the hospital, you get the whole background. You even meet with the family members to get the full generational history too. And a lot of that's not happening because we're just affirming things,
Yeah.
right?
No, and April, we've talked before, Jen and I and Alora, about how maybe not as much Jen, but maybe a little bit Jen, but how none of us in this room wanted to go through puberty. Maybe Danielle, I don't know.
Yeah.
She looks like she would have been pretty happy, but I mean,
no.
I didn't. I have 4 older brothers. I'm in your boat. I was always with boys, playing with boys, and I was also sexually abused. So I was like always wanting to be a boy. And I mean, I don't know if that's one of the reasons why. I have no idea. But I just feel like no girl, whether she was abused or not, is prepared to go through what they're about to go through with in relation to puberty. And I think that a lot of girls, if you're given the opportunity to say, I'd rather not do this, would say I'd rather not do this, not knowing the fucking lifelong repercussions that are about to come. Right?
Yeah.
We all went through it and we've all come through it and we're all on the other side now and we made it and every other woman made it out. It's just touch and go for every single person in those crucial years. So allowing children to make these decisions that they are not able to make. We don't allow them to get piercings. We don't allow them to get tattoos. We don't allow them to drink. We don't allow them to do anything except mutilate and change their gender.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, like the whole puberty thing, I remember because when I was playing with boys and I remember I got my period and I was so devastated and it was I thought it was very dirty and I don't know why. And I still think like, I remember thinking like the boys won't hang out with me anymore. I'm a woman now. And oh my God, men are really going to want to be with me now because I'm a woman. And it was horrible. And then going forward, I found the Depo-Provera shot and that stopped me from getting my period.
Yeah.
And I've been on it. I'm not now. I'm on the IUD now, but I'm like, I just loved it. I loved the fact, like, I'm like, great. I'm not menstruating. Like, I'm a woman. I should be able to say that's a beautiful thing. And I was just, for some reason, I don't know
So
if it was
how long? Sorry.
so I don't know if it was my sexual abuse or just maybe not learning stuff. Like, I don't know, but I affiliate it with being a woman it's being dirty. And I even now I feel like,
It wasn't taught as it's a rite of passage, and to look at our sacredness as women. Like that wasn't really taught, I think, generationally until like now we're learning how to step more into our feminine, and to like for our daughter who's going through it, like to honor that transition. It's a rite of passage. Puberty is also a rite of passage.
I do think though that there's probably something to having been abused and having that feeling.
Like to me, I feel like, I'm more tempting now, and
I agree with that.
now men are going to want to impregnate me. Like I was just that's the whole thing.
Because as little kids, you're not. This is my opinion, which of course is right. As a little kid, you're not meant to know about that. So
No.
like I look at our daughter who's 13 and she has no clue about like she's pretty. She's clueless. Okay?
Innocent.
Thank you. She's innocent to a lot of things. Whereas by the time I was like very little, I knew everything. And you shouldn't know that. So growing up as a little child, knowing things about sex that you shouldn't know changes your chemistry. It changes everything about who you are and who you're going to become and your first sexual experience and everything else from that point on and the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's true.
April, thank you so much for being so open and honest too, with sharing that. And you can see how, unhealed trauma from a young age impacted you over your life, and coming out of it on the other side, finding fitness and channeling your energy and your healing and finding self-love and holding strong in your truth. This has been a huge part of your journey of healing too, is being on this side of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think and I do like to tell that story because it's kind of what led me into my alcoholism, and then my alcoholism got me sober. But I do say this often to my boyfriend, and I always say, do you think there's something wrong with me? Like, because I've never wanted to have kids, right? And I've always, and I feel like a little bit of regret, I guess, right? And like a little bit of like, why don't I have that feeling? And I think it just goes back to like, I don't want to subject my kid to having an alcoholic parent, because if I ever relapsed, I would just die. Like I couldn't do that to anyone, right? And then also, I do think just my trauma from a kid and feeling dirty having my period, not feeling good getting pregnant by men. I think that's obviously why I didn't have children. So I do question a lot. I do think there's that little piece that I was like, what's wrong with me? But
Can I tell you something? There's nothing wrong with you, because me being in a similar situation to you, I never wanted to get married and I never wanted to have kids. I was also on birth control from as early as I could, started having sex, and happened to get pregnant while I was on birth control. And we've talked about this too, that I was planning on having an abortion until I researched what an abortion was, actually. And then I was so disgusted and horrified by what that would be that I couldn't do that. So here I am. So just, you're not a you're not a horrible person. You're not a weird woman for not. 1 in 2 women are abused. So 1 in 2 women have these feelings of what you had and what I had. And then obviously then just some women just don't have that, just don't want to have kids. But that doesn't mean that you're wrong. Or bad.
Or that there's something wrong with you for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I have to obviously come to terms, like work on probably. And I mean, I do have, like I mentioned, I have my beautiful nieces. So
We saw you with our chicks on the farm too. You were so nurturing. Like it is within you no matter, right? Like that maternal side's there.
Here's what I always say. I always say that there's 2 types of people that have been molested. People that become pedophiles and people that do everything that they can in their power to stop it from happening again. And that seems like us, right? So getting back to what we were talking about a minute ago about the whole issue with the sports and women, is that we as women need female safe spaces for ourselves, for our healing, for our recovery, for our journeys. Because most of us, given it's 1 in 2 and 50% of sexual assaults go unreported, we're looking at probably most women have encountered some form of sexual aggression, abuse, molestation, something in their
Assault.
life.
Yeah.
We need more than ever women's spaces to stay for women, safe for women, sacred for women.
And for women to advocate for women.
Thank you.
We should
Yes.
be
Yes. We should be-
empowering
yes,
women, not
absolutely.
pulling them down and degrading them.
Not telling women that they're wrong and that men should be there in their space. It's what you just said about how it's keeping you sober. That's so important to validate that women need these spaces for a multitude of reasons, but for that, to keep their sanity, to have their space for each other, to be and talk as women without having the elephant in the room that we all know is there literally because you have a fucking trunk in between your fucking legs. We see you. We know you're not us. We know you're not one of us.
Yeah, and even me going on yesterday on Twitter and you know, I feel bad. I almost feel like I shamed these women that were on the podium, and I don't want to have to go to that level and be like, you know, you should be ashamed of yourself clapping for this man because you're like
Right.
literally helping to erase sports. And after I posted it, I'm like, well, I'll keep it because I do want it to be an eye opener, but I don't want to keep to being repeating that because I just wanted to put that one message out there. But women need to start doing that, right? And yeah, and when it comes to safe spaces, remember back like years ago when they started doing these mixed bathrooms, the gender neutral, and I was in New York City and I was using the bathroom. I come out and washing my hands, and there's a guy in there, like a big dude, kind of like a bouncer looking guy. And he's like washing his hands. I'm like, oh, sorry, I went into the wrong washroom. He's like, oh no, it's a mixed washroom. I'm like, whoa. But when I came out of that stall and I saw him, like there was
Terrifying.
alcohol there. There was like, it was a nightclub, and I was like, my back just went
Danger,
up. I was
danger.
Yo,
like,
they had
whoa.
it. Are you serious?
Yeah. But no, London, Ontario actually had them.
Yep.
There was a couple bars
Yep.
in London that had gender neutral. The Mule restaurant downtown Richmond, who I used to go all the time for their tacos, they took away the women's
What?
washroom. Same with Grand Theater. Took away the
I
washroom.
know the Grand Theater.
Yeah.
I heard about that, and I actually wrote the Grand Theater
So did I.
myself, and I
Yeah.
said, FYI,
Will not be going
I'll
there.
never fucking
Yeah.
come to your establishment ever again. As a woman that has been through sexual assault,
Good.
I will never ever come to your establishment.
Yeah. No,
And-
I
and
left a Google review
no
for
wor-
both of them, and
Did you?
yeah,
Yeah.
and they didn't say anything.
No,
but,
of course they never responded to me.
like I
either.
get they're artists, but come on now. Like I was like, I don't feel safe.
That's
Well,
not
all,
safe.
all,
Like,
but no, I don't because that
Yeah,
means
now I'm paying off
all
artists.
yeah, like all artists are pedophiles. No, just like not all fucking fags are pedophiles. Like some guy. This is the worst thing. Some guy called me.
She
made fun
pointed
of-
to me. and
Made
she
fun
said
of me the
fake.
other day online. Some guy made fun of me the other day online because Russia banned something about gays, and I can't remember, but I commented and I just said like, look, like not I'm gay. I have a kid and I'm very right wing, like very right. Not everyone that's gay is a pedophile. Just like not every single guy that adopts a child would molest them. Right? That's not how it works, but it doesn't mean that just because you're a gay couple that you're not. And right? Like, you know what I mean? And then this guy came back at me and was like, totally made fun of me and was like, you shouldn't have a kid. And all. I was like, and because those are like the really far right, or they're like not even real. They're bots. Like, who knows? But it was just like, oh my God, like some people really are like,
well, look at the museum. Like when I go back to the whole like artist part, like that's what I'm saying. Like the museum is super woke, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so is Grand Theater. So I mean, I got kicked out of the museum, and my exhibit had nothing to do with
Right.
the exhibit. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
yep.
yeah. But I mean, it's just, and I say this all the time. Like, don't take away women's spaces. Like, you can add a gender neutral
100%.
bathroom,
Yep.
but don't give us options. Like, you're not giving women's options anymore. You're literally yanking them away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the Grand Theater when I was there, I was like, well, where am I supposed to go to the washroom? I don't feel comfortable. And they're like, oh, you can use the handicap. I'm like, oh, so now I get to take a handicap
Right.
bathroom away from them.
Right.
I was like,
See, now here's
yeah, so-
what I've
Wow.
said. Here's what I've always
Yeah.
said. How many handicapped people were there that day? How many people in a wheelchair did you see?
I know there could have been some older people, not many.
Yeah, but I'm just
not many.
asking. On average, how many people in a wheelchair did you see?
I actually didn't see any
Okay,
that day.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
that's all I wanted you to say. So, wouldn't it have made more sense to take the wheelchair bathroom and make that bathroom
The
Yeah,
gender
exactly.
neutral.
the gender
Yeah.
neutral bathroom? Because every single facility has a wheelchair bathroom that they now call a family bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
So why the fuck can't the trannies just use the family bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, of course, not while there's a family in there, even though they'd love to. But why couldn't they just wait in line for the family bathroom?
Well, exactly. How many transgenders are literally
1 in 20.
know.
Yo,
Yeah.
April. 1 in 20,000.
Yeah.
That's how many. 1 in 20,000. Not 4 in the grade 8 class. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I might amend my Google review now and add that. That was a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 in 20,000.
Yeah.
It's not possible. So what they're advocating for, I want to be very clear on my opinion. What they're advocating for is autogynephilics to enter into women's spaces and have cameras that I've seen multiple, like I've seen this on so many stories where these freaks are videotaping women in spaces because
Autogynephilia, in case anybody's listening that doesn't know what that is men who like to wear women's underwear.
they're aroused. They're
by
aroused
that.
at the idea of them being in women's clothes.
Which
Yeah.
Colonel Russell Williams from Trenton, CFB Trenton.
Oh, yeah.
Who
do you remember that?
It started for him with autogynephilia.
Do you know about
and
that?
It
Like the whole
progressed.
backstory?
Not the whole backstory.
Okay, tell her quickly.
Well, so he started going into women's houses and putting on their underwear and taking photos of himself to the point where he started taking women, holding them hostage, raping them, wearing their underwear, and killing them.
But it went from
It started
breaking in
with-
and wearing clothes, sneaking, and then
Wow.
he would sneak back out.
So
my
it
God.
progressed, right? His mental health issues were progressively getting more dangerous and more dangerous. And we're seeing the same thing happen in everyday society right now. And people are so brainwashed that they are supporting it
Yeah.
because
That's
they
the
think
problem.
that they're being a good person, what a good person does, right? But equality doesn't mean sameness.
No. Exactly.
Good one.
Right? A friend said that, and I was like, "You're absolutely right."
I said
Equality-
that. I'm the friend.
No,
that-
Sherry.
No, it was my friend Alice from BC.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, it's getting
Who's a
passed
cop?
around, and it's
Who's
good.
a cop? She's a cop, okay? And this is what she told me. She says to her sergeant, equality isn't sameness. Because why do I have to have a taser to take down that guy, but my male partner doesn't? We're equal, but we're not the same. We're
Exactly.
both constables, but we're not the same. You're stronger than me. And we're women, and we're equal, but we're not the same. My max deadlift was 245, and that was a big fucking deal for me. No, that's not true. My max back squat was 245. I'm going to have to get back. I think it was 285 is my deadlift.
Good.
Tell us what yours is
She's at 450.
475. Like, I might know
for
my back-
deadlift or back squat. Sorry.
Oh, so my max ever is 507 for my deadlift, and my
Wow.
squats 420.
Damn,
But
420.
I'm going for over 5 for my birthday lift next month. So
on back,
Fucking right.
on back.
I'm doing all my tests. I'm doing all my since I can't compete. I'm doing my 1 rep test on my birthday.
Yep.
So I thought, because I turned 48, and I was like, oh, what a better way to celebrate than have donuts and deadlift
Amazing.
and do all my
Amazing.
tests. So I'm going to go for over 400 for
Amazing.
squat, maybe 518 for my deadlift.
Okay, we're at an hour, so we're gonna wrap up soon. But I just want to touch on one thing that we didn't talk about, and that's steroids. Can we just touch on that for 2 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. So, when I competed in CrossFit, there was no drugs. I didn't know about it, so I guess I was pretty naive. I didn't know anything about drugs. I'm not into drugs or alcohol. I only like weed. That's all I do. Okay. So I don't know anything. But our producer, Laura, is into the fitness industry, and she knows all about it. So in the category that you compete in, are you in a doping category or
Testing.
a clean?
No, it's clean. Like, so we're
Clean.
tested, yeah.
So, and I'm assuming because you're recovering that you wouldn't want to have any kind of substance, correct?
I don't
Is
even
that
take
right?
I don't even take Advil if I don't have to.
Okay.
So.
So in your category, it's testing. So everyone should be clean.
Yes.
But what is Anne on?
Well, Anne's on, like, I don't even know what Anne's on. Anne's could be taking a puberty, or not puberty blockers, but some type of hormones, estrogen. I mean, he transitioned after 20, so I don't know. He was feminine looking, now he's not. Now he looks like a full-on dude again. and he put like 300 pounds on all his lifts in 1 year, which
means
Alora would know is unheard of. Even if you're on steroids, you don't put 300 pounds on your lifts.
Wow.
Like
so
maybe bench 20 per year if max. Like
okay. Is he being tested? Does he get to fly under the radar?
know.
Because
Which, by the way, this will be breaking news.
Okay.
Another transgender. Do you remember the male that got suspended from Strongman?
yes,
Audrey,
Yes.
who was abusive towards me,
Yep.
and then he got suspended for calling me a piece of shit, bigot, threatened women. We just learned that he competed in February. He went over to the CPU and they let him compete, and he got gold medal and took it away from females. So you heard it first, actually, because Rebel News will be posting that soon, because we just did some
Wow.
investigation work. So
in February.
yeah. So another one, and that's Anne's friend. So no, that's Brittany. No, that I'll show you. It's
Audrey.
Yin, an Asian man. He basically was
I've
in
seen
Strongman, was going to the nationals. They came to me and said, April, help us. We need to create a separate category. So I contacted the president of Strongman, and they made a separate category for him. So Audrey was not allowed to lift with the women anymore. And so he said, oh, great, I'll have a separate category. Awesome. I can be number one. And I was like, no, I don't believe it. He's not going to be happy. He's being fake. 2 weeks later, he comes out and says, well, I can't wait to piss beside all the women at the competition. Fuck April, that bigoted piece of shit, uneducated, blah, blah, blah. I took screenshots of everything and sent it to the president, and they suspended him for 6 months. Then I heard
Fair.
that he's like, well, I'm going to go over to the CPU because they allow us to lift over there. And
So CPU, Canadian Powerlifting Union,
yeah,
versus he was in
Strongman Corporation.
Strongman.
Yeah. That's with all the, it's like, those,
So Strongman's on the level, and they're saying like no.
now they changed the policy. They actually
Okay.
have a separate category,
Okay.
which I told, I'm like, why can't we all do that? But
Yep.
anyways, he went in, probably to spite me and to everyone else, to prove a point, and we found his numbers in February, and I dug around just to get a picture of him because the whole federation was covering it up. So I pretended that I wrote the photographer of the event, and I said, hey, I'm friends with Audrey. I want to do a surprise birthday gift for her. Can I have a photo of her? And so they actually gave me a podium shot, and I was like, bingo, that's all I needed.
No shit.
Wow.
I will make a t-shirt though, just to,
Yeah.
out of it, just for fun.
I'll buy that one. Okay, so
Wow.
so interesting. Okay, so the categories, you're in an undoped category, yet we have
But we can compete against men
but
who
we
are
can
full of
compete
testosterone.
men who are full of so fucking
That's-
fascinating. Now, let me ask you a question. What would women think in the doped category if I'm just curious. I still don't think they should be competing in either. I'm just asking. Would it make more sense if your union was to say, we're not making a separate category, but trans women can't compete in the non-doped category, but they can compete in the doped category? Does that make any?
With CPL, I'm with CPU. It's all tested, right? Because
Okay.
the IPF, who's the governing body, they're trying very hard. We follow IOC basically,
Okay.
so they follow the testosterone monitoring. So once I go to nationals and higher, like worlds, that's when you implement testosterone monitoring for transgenders. But none have gotten through because they never passed, right? But I'm just saying they want to be so badly into the Olympics, so we will always be tested, right? If I wanted to leave and go to the Canadian Powerlifting League, who has tested and non-tested, that's a different story. And I even asked them, if Anne or any transgender goes into your federation, how do you treat them? They said, we make them lift against people on steroids. Great. So, if there was
Interesting.
a doping one, great. I think Anne should lift in it, right? But
Right.
So, but no,
Well, yeah. I mean, for argument's sake, she should be lifting in the fucking trans category. But I guess if there isn't a trans category, it would
Against
certainly
men.
make more it would certainly make more sense to be in the doped category.
yeah.
Wow.
But see, I can't even take, if I start going through menopause and I want to take hormones to help me, I have to get it actually written. I have to go through steps. And they might not even allow it. I literally have to, any drug that I take or medication has to be approved. Like if it affects my performance.
So
Like,
hold on.
Hormone replacement.
yeah.
So if
for
you
you.
wanted to, I hear all these women talking right now that
Mm-hmm.
T. Every woman wants to take fucking T right now. So if you wanted to take a little bit of T to go to help you with menopause, you would not be allowed.
Wouldn't be allowed.
I'm sorry, but a man can compete against you. That's okay.
And has
Yeah,
taken estrogen.
Yeah, but keep in mind though, like Anne transitioned after 20. So he went through full-blown puberty
100%.
as a man. So take
100%.
away, let's not even talk about testosterone because I
Yeah.
keep saying to
I told you that.
federations,
I told you that earlier.
take that out of the equation. It shouldn't even
Yeah.
be a factor. It should be like if you're a male, you compete against the males because the males will just have, like I talk about, their pelvises or different pelvises. That's where your strength comes, your hips and your pelvis.
Yep.
Your hand, your grip strength, like your VO2 max, like all these different
Right.
things that a man's going to have.
Yep.
So
Right.
take testosterone out of the equation. I don't even want that as one of the policies. I mean, it's better that because I mean, Anne tried to go to Worlds and he passed the testosterone monitoring, which honestly is so. It's like my boyfriend could pass it if he went on steroids and then crashed.
Yeah.
His test levels would be under 2.4.
Right.
But what Anne did not produce was the psychological records and the medical documents because
Interesting.
you need a diagnosis by a doctor stating gender dysphoria or what have you. And Anne's like, that goes against my human rights or my privacy. I'm not going to submit those. I was like, oh, okay. But, you know,
Oh, so she has rights.
yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So it's just
I
ridiculous.
can't believe I just
Wow.
said she.
So
has
That's
rights.
backwards.
Yeah, so Anne didn't go through because he didn't submit. But to be honest, they don't want Anne going through. Like the way he has treated and made the sport look in the CPU, he is not a representative of.
But then
yeah.
why wouldn't the CPU fucking put a policy in
Because
to
of the board members, they're biased, but they also keep saying it. They're protected by Canadian law. They keep going back to this Bill C-16 where gender expression is protected. And I was like, guess what was before gender? Sex. And there's sex discrimination. You're actually, that's what I'm saying. I think people have forgotten, like women have rights. Like everyone just get rid of our bathrooms. We don't have rights. Gender trumps, like, trans rights are on the top of this hierarchy, right? Like at the very
absolutely.
top. So
everybody is equal, except some people are more equal than others.
yeah.
Should we end on that? Everybody is equal, except some people are more equal than others. April, thank you so much. Maybe we'll do a number 2 because I think that I could keep fucking going.
I know
on
more
and
keeps
on and on.
unfolding. I know you keep
there's
bringing.
always developments.
Yeah. No, for real. We'll just do.
Wow.
Maybe we'll do a check-in in the summer when we have some new animals to show you when we get our new cows.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
Thank
But
you so much.
I was going to say, I do have, I'm working with an author. I'm doing a book too. So I'm going to have a book coming out.
What's it about?
My story, basically, my
Oh,
whole,
amazing.
like my story about overcoming, blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
Cool.
we can
Am I
talk
gonna?
about
Do you think
that.
I'll be in it?
Maybe I'll give you a mention. You can do my forward. You can write my forward.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, we really appreciate it.
Cool.
And we wish you the best of luck. And
You have our support, 100%.
yes.
Yeah.
fuck those unions, and we're gonna
Start your own league.
Right.
yeah, we're gonna keep sharing your stuff, and yeah,
Thank
Wish
you
you
for
all the
being
best.
integral.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I love you guys.
yeah, I love you.